Here's a brief but annoying message to let you know that you could have first heard this episode 9 months ago if you were a subscriber to our Iron Filing Society Patreon offering.
For the price of a pint and a St Clement's each month, you can get up to 4 episodes a week, 9 months before the rest of the world gets them. Early access to regular episodes, lots of other marvellous benefits, and there's absolutely no adverts or brief but annoying messages like this that will get right on your ticks.
Find out more and subscribe now at tftimemachine.com/ironfilings.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, this is it!
This is Top Flight Time Machine. I am Andy Hotbody Dawson. Pow, pow, pow.
I am Sam Nifty Delaney. So what?
Welcome along. It's another Melchester Odyssey. And we're looking at, of course, an issue of Roy of the Rovers. And it's in my right hand this time. And are you clattering something about there?
Just getting things into position so I can look you as directly in the eye as possible.
Yeah, that's how I like it.
Yeah. Like you're a bit to my left and I'm trying to look at Roy the Rover's source material and you. So it takes a little bit of arranging. So apologies for the clitter clatter. It's finished now.
It's a contractual obligation, isn't it, that you are obliged to look me directly in the eye.
Yeah, it's weird. You made me sign that before we did our first ever podcast over 5 years ago, and at the time I thought it was strange, but I thought, fine, I'll sign it if he wants me to.
Yeah.
But now I see it, mate. Like so many of the strange things you've encouraged me to do, in the end, as you always say, you go, I know it seems strange now, but in the end, you'll come to see its value, and you may even enjoy it. You're always saying that to me.
Yeah,
and 99% of the time, you turn out to be right eventually.
I do. I say persevere with it. You may come to enjoy it. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, looking you in the eye whilst also. Yeah, I am. Yeah, especially as you're wearing your Ronnie Craig glasses, I find it even more enjoyable.
Shall I tell you why I introduced that thing? Of
what? Looking in the eye, yeah, tell me.
Yeah. I wanted us to replicate Lennon and McCartney in the early days when they used to write songs together, sitting across from each other.
Just stand face to face. Yeah. And then you do see them do that and Get Back. They went back, like McCartney said, let's do it the old way, John. And they started to do it. Yeah. And it was, I mean, as Eduardo, the coach driver in Portugal, would have said, arm hair standing up.
Yeah, of course. That's what we're all aiming for, wasn't it, really?
Mm.
Yeah. Good.
Tell us if your arm hair has ever stood up whilst listening to an episode of Top Flight Time Machine, Melchester Odyssey.
Yeah, get in touch. Let us know. Anyway, it's in my left hand now. It's the 8th of September 1984 issue of Roy the Rovers. Across the top, much excitement. It says, inside, my team's performance chart, part 1, which... was it an annual thing, I think, in the Roy the Rovers? I think we've covered it before. I'll show you it there, Sam. It's basically a big grid.
Yes. Yeah.
Of empty squares, and you put in your teams.
I did that.
It's got across the top match 1 to match 46. So if you've got a lower league club, you're covered. And it says put a dot in the first column. The first column has first to 24th. League positions. Put a dot in the first column against the number which is your team's league position as each match is played. Mark their new placing and join up the dots. So it creates like a graph, if you like, of your team's league position across the season.
It looks amazing because like graphs were big in the 80s as well, weren't they? Mm-hmm. I feel like they were much bigger than they are now. Like you're always wanting, especially that kind of graph. What do you call the kind of graph? Because you got your bar graph. Then you got your line graph, but what do you call the sort where it zigzag, jiggy-jaggies around, which is what this one is?
I don't know.
Because they're the best ones, because they look scientific, don't they?
Yeah, that's what this does. The level of excitement, you can look at them and assess them and track the
You feel like a scientist. It feels like you're applying scientific rigour to basically supporting a football team.
I think so. And then underneath there's a goal scorer graph as well. Enter the names of your team's goal scorers in the first column, then shade in a square for each goal he scores. Any player who scores more than 40 goals, start a new column.
So those
Clive
were the days.
Springs to mind there.
Clive Allen, did you say? That's exactly what I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
When you hear the words 40 goals, if you're a man of a certain age, you only think 2 words. Clive Allen. Yeah. Unbelievable goal scorer. I read his book a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite enjoyable, actually.
Was it good?
Yeah. I mean, he played for every club in London, so it's weird because, like, you know, he was really... His most famous successful period was at Tottenham. That's when he scored his 40 goals. But he played for Chelsea. I think he spent time at Arsenal but never actually played. That was quite famous, wasn't it? Arsenal signed him from Palace.
He went to Arsenal for about 2 weeks and then he was involved in some kind of weird deal with Kenny Sansom.
Yeah.
Going to Arsenal and...
that was... He must have gone with Kenny Sansom.
No.
Because didn't he go from Arsenal to... Didn't he go from Palace to Arsenal and then on to Tottenham or something?
No, hang on. This is complicated.
The Clive Allen career trajectory is well known to be one of the most complicated things to have ever happened in global football. Let's hear it.
In London. No, I was right. He started his career at QPR, scored 32 goals in 49 appearances.
Then he went to Arsenal.
He signed for Arsenal in the summer of 1980 for a fee of $1.25 million, which was massive because Trevor Francis had just been the first £1 million player a year before, so he busted that record. He did not play a competitive match for the club, although he did play 3 pre-season matches. He soon moved on to Crystal Palace in a swap deal with Kenny Sansom.
Kenny Sansom, okay,
what the fuck?
You're bang on.
That baffled us all then. It baffles me
still
still to this day.
Now.
It makes me want to get his book to see what he says about it.
He done great at Palace, and then I think he went straight from Palace to Spurs, and that was his imperial phase. And then he went to France for a bit. I want to say either Nantes or Strasbourg. I can't remember, one of those two, I reckon.
Bordeaux.
Oh, Bordeaux, okay.
Bordeaux.
Completely wrong. Then to Chelsea. Then Chelsea to West Ham.
Manchester City for 2 years.
Oh.
Man City for 2 years.
Before Chelsea.
Believe it or not. I've got no recollection of him playing for Manchester City, but he 53
that's
games.
A vague recollection. So so Bordeaux to Man City, then to Chelsea, then to West Ham.
Then Chelsea, then West Ham, then Millwall.
Yeah, then Millwall, weird one.
Fucking hell. But then Carlisle United.
The fact that he played for Chelsea, Spurs and Millwall, you should dislike him as a West Ham fan. But Clive Allen, difficult bloke to dislike. Bloke to dislike, isn't he?
Exactly.
And he scored a very important goal for West Ham. I think that's the first time I cried. Well, I know. I cried at Upton Park because he scored the goal that got us promoted on the last day of the season against Cambridge United in, I think, 92 or 93. And my mate still finds that hilarious. My mate, who I still sit with at West Ham, is what you might call unreconstructed when it comes to notions of masculinity. Right. So barely a day, certainly barely a match day goes by all these years later without, and we're talking 30 years, without him saying, do you remember when you cried when Clive Allen scored against Cambridge, and then just laughing his head off. That's it. There's no punchline or banter beyond that. It's just remembering a man crying. Well, I wasn't even a man. I was still a boy, Andy.
You were allowed to cry. You're allowed to cry as a man.
You can cry whenever you want.
Whenever we want.
You can cry whenever you want, although I would say that my caveat, but it's just personal. If you cry over football as a grown man, that's your business. I don't judge you. But I don't cry about football anymore because, come on. It's a child's game. I'm not. I mean, I was delighted when West Ham became champions of Europe, which is what we are. When I was there in Prague, and I felt very emotional, but I was nowhere near crying. I did see a lot of men cry, though.
What counts as crying? Do tears have to leave the eyes? Or at least one tear needs to leave the eye and roll down the face?
Yeah, it can't be wet. If not, it's welling. Welling, which is the sort of country cousin, you might say, of crying.
Yeah. I welled at Wembley when Sunderland won the League One playoff. I didn't cry.
Yeah. No, and it's fine. You didn't try to fight back tears, did you? I mean, let them flow if they come.
No, I didn't try and fight them back. No, I was hoping they'd come.
I felt a huge emotion, but I never felt the threat of tears. The threat of tears is quite a good phrase, isn't it?
I was welling, and I was thinking, come on, bit more.
Come on.
enhance the drama. Come on, try.
You're
try,
waiting
you
for a squirt.
Yeah, nothing. Just a well.
Well, that's it. That's age. If you'd been a bit younger, it would have come out. But I think you get to an age where you've been through a lot of different things in your life. You've had a lot of, we've all had a lot of, by our age, a lot of knocks, a lot of blows, cuts, bruises, all the emotional roller coaster that is life. And in the end, your team winning a big football match isn't quite enough to elicit tears. I'm glad to say that with me, it was just that there was no bittersweet emotion. There was none of that kind of, it brings back. There was no, maudlin Cockney sentiment. Oh, it brings back all them memories, all the pain and suffering, all the different times that the old lady bowling, right? It was just, there was nothing like that. I saw a lot of it from some of the other Cockneys, right? But for me, it's just like, I just feel really, really, really happy. That's it. There's no nuance to it. It's just pure joy.
I'm not trying to put you down here, but you are not a legitimate Cockney because you weren't born within the sound of the
No,
Bow
I was going to
Bells,
say
so
that because I wasn't born. I'm not from anywhere near the East End. I'm from the West London. So you only have that level of deep, tearful emotion if you're born within the sound of the Bow Bells.
You're quite right.
And those were all the lads. I checked with all of the ones I saw crying.
Yeah.
And
you went, Cockney? Yeah, mate.
I said, have you got your Bow Bells certificate? And most of them, a lot of them have the Bow Bells certificate tattooed on them. Some of them just have the Bow Bells tattooed on them.
Some of the younger ones have got it on an app now, haven't they?
They
just
do,
show you the app. You can get it on Apple Pay. You just press your button twice and it just comes up in your wallet.
Yeah, you have to provide evidence, but they can tell it by your fingerprint.
Yeah. Clive Allen, though, getting back to Clive Allen, I don't know if you remember this, but this was an incredible incident against Coventry City in September 1980. He hit a shot for Crystal Palace, it flew into the goal and rebounded off the stanchion.
Oh, and was it disallowed?
Disallowed. Referee
Stupid
didn't see
ref.
it. Referee thought it hit the post.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose you couldn't forgive
stanchion.
the ref for that. I mean, it's such a strange thing. I think around the same time, similar era, when Trevor Brooking had a shot that stuck in the stanchion against Hungary.
Stuck in the stanchion. It was against Hungary. Yes, I think it was it away in Hungary?
Yeah, so I think that those two incidents coming so near together in the early 80s, FIFA just had to rethink the whole stanchion situation altogether. They're like, stanchions are really getting in the way of football now. We need to redesign goals. And I believe most goals now are stanchionless, aren't they?
They're stanchion free. Yeah.
They have
game's
to be.
better for it. I mean, that's why we've got VAR now as well, isn't it? As well for stanchion related.
Yeah, stanchion related
queries.
And they also introduced stanch cam, which is a camera that's rigged up inside the stanchion.
That got me thinking. I was thinking a while ago about 1980, and we talked about our first World Cup. Mine was 82. I think yours was 86.
86,
first one that you remember properly.
Sentient.
My proper first tournament was Euro 1980, which was held in Italy.
Wow.
And that was all about hooliganism and tear gas, that tournament. It was incredible. It's worth a dive, I think. Possibly.
Yeah. I know nothing about... Were England involved in that?
England were involved, yeah. They were on the brink of being sent home, I think. It got that bad.
Oh,
but,
God.
Yeah, matches were interrupted because of the police having to wade in and fire tear gas into the crowd. And I'm pretty sure the Adidas Tango ball was used as well, which is a beautiful ball.
That's the mark of a great tournament, the Adidas Tango.
Yeah.
Well, there was that Adidas Azteca in 86, which was more or less the same design. It just had some swirly bits with inside the actual black stripes,
Anyway,
that's well worth a deep dive. I can't imagine that would have been Ron Greenwood, would it? 1980.
Yeah. We're due to do a history box next week, but it'll go out after this, before this episode does. We should do.
It must have come up in the Keegan book, in the Electric Mouse Memoirs, or whatever his book's called.
I'm sure he was playing in it.
Yeah, it definitely would have been. I mean, that was Imperial Keegan, wasn't it? 1980.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll deep dive it. Sorry for the football content.
I must remind myself of Kevin Keegan's whatever he says about hooliganism in that book. He must say a few things about it because he played throughout its heyday, didn't he?
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. Mindless.
Oh, God. I've just seen the Euro 1980 logo and I've just had a Proustian rush.
Oh.
I'm sure there was a sticker album as well. Whoa. Anyway, let's get on with this Melchester thing, because as usual, we fucked up the first half by talking about other stuff. On the front cover, Roy the Rovers. Roy, for some reason, looks a bit like Mrs. Mangle from Neighbours.
I was going to say, he looks like he's aged 10
department.
years or 20 years in this particular image.
Turned into an old lesbian.
Yeah. Yeah. I tackled that hard, it turned me into an old lesbian for 5 minutes. Have you, Blackie, you ever been tackled so hard that you feel like a fucking 60-year-old lesser? I have. Happened today. You might have... I noticed that, Roy. You look like one of them old wrinkly dykes you get.
I'll have to raise me game, won't I, Roy? Because I want to do that. I'd love to feel like that just for the moment.
Feel what it's like to walk in a lesbian's shoes. What, you mean like DM boots?
Flat ones.
Aye. Court shoes, maybe. Flats.
The arrival of Jeff Boycott as chairman for Melchester Rovers had a galvanising effect on midfielder Jimmy Slade, who wanted to impress the new chairman against Blackpool in the opening match for the season. Jimmy Slade's lost his fucking mind, basically. Jimmy scored twice and Roy once, making the Blackport defenders desperate. And that's what we see. We see Roy being felled here. That's a terrible drawing. That is just... he looks like fucking... he looks a bit like Zippy. Off of
What, in
Rainbow
this
as well,
opening one?
And Jeffrey.
Zippy and Jeffrey amalgam.
Yeah, the love child of Zippy and Jeffrey. Ah! Shouts Roy. And then one of the terrorist wags says, oh, that isn't football, it's unarmed combat. Calm down, Oscar Wilde. Make them pay for it, Roy, says another. Oh, using by his first name, Roy. And indeed,
Hurt them, Roy. I like it when you hurt them. Make them feel pain, Roy.
Hurt them where it hurts most, in the mind and the heart.
Boys, does anyone else here get an erection when Roy kicks someone the opposition very hard? I do. Mumble. Never mind, it was just a joke. I don't really.
Roy's taking the free kick himself. He's taking the free kick himself, says one
Weird
of them.
setup for this free kick, isn't it? Like, there's a 5-man wall on the edge of the 18-yard box. The goalie stood dead centre, which looks like dodgy positioning. And Roy's running at it like it's a penalty with every member of the Melchester team sort of lined up behind him.
Yeah, that's not 10 yards either.
Very peculiar, the whole thing.
Well, it's over the page. We'll find out what happens. Another crowd member says, the Blackport players will be wishing they were armour-plated.
Kick it in their testicles, Roy. Sorry.
And over the page, oh God, it's in black and white again.
Disgusting.
Whatever's been going on has
it's got
continued.
Worse.
There's still the black and white thing. Oh, how many listeners, readers, whatever it is, have they lost through this? I might have stopped reading it at this point. What would I have been then? 12? Yeah, probably did anyway. But Roy dummied the defence by running over the ball. Are you clicking something?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it? Is it a bolt?
Little adapter. You see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, it's making a lot of noise. Such a small item. Thank you, Sam.
Reach.
Listeners, can you all say thank you, Sam? That's good. Okay. Roy,
I've got here to occupy my busy hands. Got a little bit of bubble wrap.
Oh,
slightly quieter.
Are you popping it? Look, man, it's not ASMR.
I was going to ask you. I was trying to remember what that's called. Yeah, ASMR.
Anyway, Roy dummied the defence by running over the ball, and Carl Hunt's behind him. Carl Hunt followed up. He's floated it over to Neville Jones. So that little setup they had where them all stood behind Roy was deliberate because they've activated some kind of free kick routine. Neville Jones has ran off to the right and Carl Hunt's chipped it over to him, and he then heads it across the face of goal behind the wall, and the Blackport wall are just stood like dummies. They can't understand what's happening. Neville Jones nods it across. Guess who he nods it across to? Jimmy Slade!
Oh.
Who wallops it into the net past the despairing keeper.
Jimmy Slade's gone all Clive Allen, hasn't he?
He has. Early in the season as well, hat-trick. Oh, God. Yes! In the director's box. Fucking Alec Amor, still hanging around like a bad smell, was the temporary chairman. But, of course, Jeff Boycott's in there. But Alec Amor is still hanging around, basking in the glory, I think, of Boycott. Anything you want, Jeff? Can I get you a sandwich, Jeff? Top up on your cup of tea there, Jeff. Anything you need, just say.
Amor's like the cockroach of Melchester Rovers, isn't he?
Yeah.
He'll always make sure he clings on to some sort of salary.
Jalapeño.
It looks here, you know, that brick wall thing that's across the front of the director's box. It looks like Amor's resting his chin on it. It's been drawn.
I'll tell you what.
He's leaning in.
Jeff, when I was acting chairman, something that worked for me, and you don't have to take my advice, you'll obviously have your own way of doing things, and that's fine. But just a little tip is that sitting up here in director's box, it's quite nice during the game to rest your chin on this brick wall. It makes it right comfortable, I can tell that. Go on, give it a go. No, thank you. I will not be resting my chin on a brick wall. I feel that is undignified and strange.
Here's an idea, Jeff. I could get you a little cushion. And you could put it on the wall and then rest your chin on the cushion.
My chin is perfectly fine being supported by my neck, thank you, in the conventional manner. All right, I'm just saying, because you know what? Your chin can get very tired just hanging there for a full 90 minutes. And when you're factoring half-time as well, then your chin can get really, really exhausted. My chin is built to last, Amor, unlike yours, which is flabby and pathetic. Listen,
2 months ago, I spent 7 hours at the crease against the West Indies at Headingley, totting up a total of 48 runs. At no point did my chin sag, drop or droop. My chin is very strong, Mr. Amor, and I do not need your wall.
This here is a Yorkshire chin. They build chins differently there in God's county. Chins don't need support. Chins are built to look after themselves, lad. They don't need out to balance themselves on.
A Yorkshire chin is self-regenerating and self-cleaning, like the vagina, I believe.
Like the Yorkshire vagina. That's of my wife, who was a great Yorkshire lass. With a lovely, decent, extremely clean, self-regenerating Yorkshire vagina. Which is how I pronounce it.
I must confess, I have never seen it. We have always performed sexual congress in the dark, as is the Yorkshire way. But I know where it is, put it that way. I have no trouble finding it.
I don't need to see something to aim for it, if you catch my drift. There are 5 senses in the human body, unless you are from Yorkshire, in which case there are actually 6. We have a 6th sense in Yorkshire, and it is a sense to hone in on Fanny in the dark.
The 6th sense is vaginal navigation.
Fanny radar, some might call it.
Anyway, Alec Amor's got his chin
right
on the
then.
wall.
So you won't be wanting a chin pillow then? No, I will not.
Let me hear no more about it. What Alec Amor really says is, that's Jimmy's hat-trick, Jeff. I don't see how the England selectors can ignore him now. The England selectors thing again. there's no such thing as England selectors in 1984. They ended in 1939, apparently.
It's because it's cricket. It's because they're introducing a cricket theme. I swear to God, the writer of this gets bored sometimes and just starts to think, I wish I did a cricket strip instead.
The trouble is the kids aren't interested in bloody cricket. That's why they've introduced boycott. They're going to try and pivot to cricket.
Yeah.
Jeff Boycott says, this performance has done him no harm, Alec. But what about Roy? If anyone should be playing for England, it's Roy Rice. To which Alec Amor looks shocked and dismayed. That's a long story, Jeff. For years, Roy has openly disagreed with England's style of play.
Classic.
Yes!
Because they don't build the team around him.
Fucking hell. You know what? We've not had any mention of England in this strip in the
Ever.
4 years or so that we've been doing it.
No.
And I don't know when this story was. What are you clicking now?
Nothing.
You are, I can hear it. What is it?
My hand was on the tripod that is holding my chin up. No, that's holding the phone with your face on it.
You're going to have to sit on your hands or something.
I know, I don't know what the matter with me is. This is why I need to start smoking, mate.
Yeah, probably.
Like,
just get one of them fake ones.
If you watch any French podcasts on YouTube, which I do like all the time, they all smoke.
Right.
They all sit there smoking, don't they?
Yeah. What do they call them again? Them French fags? Gold Noirs or something like that?
Yeah, and the podcast is called Podois. Les Podois. And they're all about like philosophy, most of them. But they just sit there and they sip coffee and smoke cigarettes. It's lovely. And as a result, none of them click like me. They haven't got any clickers on the podcast scene.
Who is a person of interest to this podcast who was a sitcom star? I'll tell you the answer. It was Paul Nicholas, who was Vince in Just Good Friends. And what did Vince in Just Good Friends have?
He had a pretend cigarette.
Plastic cigarette, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he also has a book out, which we should be deep diving.
We probably should, yeah. Anyway, right, yeah. So for years, Roy has openly disagreed with England's style of play. In the circumstances, I doubt if Bobby Robson would consider Roy if he went down on his knees. Whoa, beef between Roy and Bobby Robson here. Fucking hell.
Bobby Robson. Don't make me laugh. Bobby Robson, England manager. My fucking cat could do a better job.
I wouldn't piss on Robson if he were on fire.
I tell you what Robson fucking knows about football, you could fit on the inside of fucking Jimmy Slade's foreskin, which I've seen. It's tiny foreskin, but large penis. He actually had to have it operated on that. It's a condition. That actually is a condition. I know someone who had that. I won't name them, obviously, because they might feel embarrassed. But actually,
it's very personal.
I know two people who were both related to each other. So it must be a genetic thing in their family whose willies became too big for their foreskins. Have you ever heard of that?
Whoa, I haven't. It's new to me.
Your willy can outgrow your foreskin, and then they need to operate on you. Because if not, you're just in immense discomfort. It's like wearing a jacket that's 2 sizes too small all the time.
Yeah, you can't get comfortable.
Yeah.
Especially when you sit down. Do they just circumcise them then? Snip, snip.
That's what they did. I don't know. They said they had a procedure. I didn't ask to see it. I thought maybe they removed the small foreskin and replaced it with a sort of a prosthetic, larger size foreskin.
A graft from the inside of their thigh or something like that.
Yeah, we're going to make a foreskin from some of your arse skin.
Therefore, you will be permanently bumming yourself, technically.
How'd you like that?
Take it or leave it, it's NHS.
Your choice. If it was me, I'd probably live with the discomfort because I would be ashamed to bum myself every day, morning, noon and night. I mean, it can't be healthy.
What's happening here? At that moment, Alec Amos says, but he'll have to consider Jimmy Slade. Look at this. And Jimmy Slade was slaloms through 3 Blackpool defenders who are left for dead, let's say, on their arses.
I love that
bumming themselves.
particular caption.
Fucking hell, over the page. He's only just put it past the keeper. 5-0, 4 goals for Slade. It's there! At full time. What a start to the season. I feel almost sorry for Blackport. Jimmy certainly served up some Melchester magic for Jeff Boycott. Fucking hell. And then they're all, see a close-up of the fans, and they're all turning, looking at Boycott, who is giving what looks a little bit like a dictator-style salute from the director's box. I'm not going to say Nazi. It could be any mid-20th century fascist, I suppose. But Mussolini in there, the left arm. Maybe the new chairman has brought us luck. Looks like it. His success at cricket is rubbing off on the Rovers. And they're all shouting, boycott, boycott!
He's done fuck all since he's been there,
nothing.
as far as we've seen.
He's just turned up.
Yeah. He's just a figurehead. The whole thing's a fucking PR gimmick, and it's not going to last. We all know that.
No.
There'll be an explosion at some point soon between him and Roy, because there is no way two egos like that can comfortably sit side by side.
No chance. Absolutely no chance. It says later Roy received a message that the new chairman wanted to see him in the players' lounge. He can come and fucking see me. How about that? No, fair enough. He's
here
new.
he is.
He doesn't
all
know
right,
yet.
Cunt. Bet you're feeling a bit shit after that Slade fucking totally overshadowed you in your own team. No, I'm only joking, Roy.
Boycott says, that wasn't a bad game of football, Roy. I reckon I've come to the right club. Fucking hell, Roy says, you haven't seen anything yet, Jeff. Close-up of Jeff's fucking head. Jesus Christ. Which means it's something important is about to be said. It's
a huge Jeff Boycott head floating in space.
Like a fucking bowling ball, isn't it? Look at it. With hair, with the side parting. He says, there's something that I would like to see, Roy, and that's you playing for England. Roy was a little startled by Jeff Boycott's blunt approach. He's looking down at the floor. A bit solemn. Well, quite apart from my personal feelings on the subject, I'm getting a bit long in the tooth. I have my 30th birthday coming up. 30? Fucking hell. So what?
He looks older, but it is the 80s.
So what? I'm 69. So what? I'm told you're playing better than ever. He says, maybe it's none of my business, but I think it's sad that you have exiled yourself from the England team. If ever your country needed the skills of Roy Race, it's now. Roy says, but Jeff, all I ask is that you think about it. Think in bold type. Because, in my opinion, you're selling yourself short, lad.
But I mean having ideas and notions inside of your brain.
Thoughts.
They are not real. Thoughts are not real. They are sort of like pictures. Do you ever utilise thinking, Roy? Not really. I'm a bit more sort of just get up and get at it sort of thing, Jeff. Yes. You're a man. You're a practical man. You're a man of action, not thoughts. I respect that. But sometimes utilising thinking can be helpful. If you don't play for England soon, we're going to be in trouble. I've heard Robson's looking at that fucking gargoyle Peter Beardsley from Newcastle United. The last thing England needs is a man like that representing us on the continent.
Children can't look up to that. And he's got his hand on Roy's shoulder as well as he imparts this advice. Meanwhile, over the page, we're back in colour again. I'm a bit startled by that. It's too much to handle. And it says, meanwhile, Jimmy Slade wasn't thinking at all. Slade appears to be standing on a table, maybe? He's in front of the gentlemen of the press and the photographer cohorts. So he's addressing the nation, if you like. He says, yeah, I reckon I'm ready for the England squad now. When you look at the results they've been getting, I reckon they need me. Fucking hell. A journalist at the back says, a bit sure of himself, isn't he? Jimmy had been presented with the match ball, which he holds aloft above his head, as if he's about to throw it at the gentleman of the press. Or the journalist says, downright cocky, if you ask me. But maybe that's the kind of spirit the England team need. The England team, let's be fair, were fucked at this point. They'd failed to qualify for Euro 84.
Yeah.
Robson was a laughingstock. So Roy the Rovers is going in 2-footed on him.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Quite right. And what another pressman says, hey, Jimmy, is it true that you're appearing in that kids' television programme, Rock Around?
Oh.
Rock Around. Now, that sounds to me a bit like an
Run
amalgam
Around.
of Run Around, but maybe with a smattering of Cheggers Plays Pop as well.
Yeah.
So let's see what that looks like. And indeed it does. He says, you bet! Thursday afternoon. Don't miss it, folks. It's a new breakthrough in entertainment. Oh, is it?
Fucking
Oh,
hell.
fucking is it? Let's see then. Suddenly, we're transported forwards to 4:30 the next Thursday. And we see a presenter in the middle of what looks like a circus ring with a crowd surrounding it. And there's, I could describe it as a giant mouse's hole at the side. He's emerging from like Tom and Jerry. And it says rock around it. And he comes running out in his Melchester kit with the ball at his feet. The floor is made up of light green and dark green stripes. Of course, if you follow us on Twitter, you do get to look at these because I post the source material every week, eventually.
And it's
not
well
always
worth the
straight
look,
away.
this is a real
Well worth the
departure visually from the usual Roy the Rovers imagery.
And the presenter shouts, and here he is, kids! One of Melchester Rovers' brightest young stars, Jimmy Slade! Hooray!
He looks, who he looks like, this presenter, is, what's his name, the Radio 2 big Fulham fan, does the announcements still.
David Hamilton.
He looks like David Hamilton, doesn't he?
Did he, David? Yeah, but younger.
Yeah.
He's certainly not as Cheggers-ish as I thought he might be.
He's more.
And
he's based. You could say he's more like Checkers than Mike Reed, the presenter of Runaround.
Yeah, definitely. Oh,
Mike Reed always looked 63 his whole life.
I recently bought 2 copies of Mike Reed's autobiography, Sam. One for each of us.
Oh,
that could be worth a look. Oh, that could be diveable. It also could be quite offensive. You know, could go either way.
Yeah, I suppose it could
We'll
do.
have a
Yeah.
look. We'll have a look. And the presenter, who is nameless, says, all these lads play in goal for their school teams, Jimmy. And there's 3 young callow youths stood in their civilian clothes next to a small goal at the side of the set. If they can stop just 1 shot out of 3, they'll win a whole heap of goodies. Oh, God, you used to get goodies, didn't you, on kids' TV shows?
Goodies, yeah, and then they'd cut to it. They'd go, this selection of goodies, and they'd cut to it, and it'd just be a shot they'd done earlier, and it'd have all, like, sort of stars and tinsel around it, wouldn't it? And there'd be like
tennis
records,
rackets, board games,
toys, board games, just the fucking lot. We should start giving away goodies.
Screen. Oh, let me get the goodies.
Yeah.
So he says, if they can stop just 1 shot out of 3, they'll win a whole heap of goodies. Jimmy Slade says, they'll have to be on top form, Gary. I'm fucking invincible right now. I'll knock their fucking heads off.
They're getting away with one of my shots, they'll end up with no fucking teeth or testicles, depending on what kind of shot I go for.
Or I don't know if they even have testicles at their age. How old are they? Did they say?
I'll knock off their fucking empty ball sacks, and then when their balls do drop, they'll drop straight onto the fucking ground. Ever seen something like that before? Of course you haven't. You're a fucking nobody.
I'm a fucking athlete.
What are you? A fucking kids' TV presenter? Oh, you're on Radio 1 as well, are you? Playing fucking stupid music? Fucking hell, take a look at yourself. I'm about to play for England. What are you in it for? Young lads, I shouldn't wonder. Disgusting.
Probably try to kiss one of them lads later on, will you? Yeah, thought so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Watch out, I might kick a ball at you and fucking smash your knob off so you can't do any more damage with it, you fucking weirdo. Well, this isn't going as well as expected.
I think we'll try that again from the top.
The producers said that Jimmy Slade is, quite the boy next door, but it seems he's rather more edgy than we accounted for.
He's got a kind of a vigilante streak to him I wasn't expecting.
What the bloody hell's going on with this Jimmy Slade that you booked, Roger? He's just threatened to smash off the host's penis with a football.
After a completely unsubstantiated allegation of paedophilia.
You said that you'd briefed him.
I got him a coffee. Well, he shouldn't have.
Some of them react pretty badly to the pressure of once the camera and the studio lights go on.
Cut to Roy's house, and Roy is sitting. Oh, Roy's now not got his space age telly anymore, which used to be on a kind of a smooth stand. He's now got one of those Oak Effect media centres, you could call.
Yeah.
He's got a VHS in the bottom of it, and the TV just resting on the top.
Perched on top, and a nice sort of cheese plant next to it.
Yeah. Still looks like quite a small telly. I think that's smaller than the one he had before. He'd be upset about that. He is on his armchair by the looks of it. I think Penny might be sitting on his knee. Or if she's not, she might just be kneeling on the floor next to the chair. You kneel there, Penny. Just in case I need you.
Have a kneel. I sometimes think, Roy, it might be worth us getting a sofa in the television room so we can sit side by side. Don't be ridiculous, Penny. Sofas are an absurd invention. Why do I want someone sitting next to me invading my space? You're perfectly fine kneeling. You're very rarely in here for a whole episode of anything anyway.
You
don't understand 90-minute football matches. I'll let you come in and watch a gentle touch once a week. What more do you want? Now it's all sofas. What next are you going to be asking for?
Slippers?
Going to be wanting us to watch the whole of the fucking Thornbirds, are you? Because you fancy that Richard Chamberlain? Well, fucking Blackie went through that with his missus, and they were never the same again. So there'll be no Thornbirds in this house. Oh, okay,
Under
right.
my roof.
I'll go and get me my chops. Go and get me, fetch me my chops. I can eat them while I'm watching Rock Around.
So yeah, he is indeed watching Rock Around as on the screen Jimmy Slater's putting the ball past one of the little kids into the goal. Goal! Shouts something or someone. Penny says, young Jimmy's putting himself about a bit these days, isn't he, Roy?
Shut up!
Stop talking about Jimmy Slade.
What's the matter with you?
You're fucking
He's about
obsessed
half
with
your
him.
age. It's disgusting. Well, I'm only saying. If you want to marry Jimmy Slade, fine. I know how much he gets paid, and I can tell you it's not half as much as I fucking do. So if you want a life like that, fine. I got plenty of other fucking fanny lining up to be the next Mrs. Race.
What is it? What is it with you and Jimmy Slade? Is it a mother-son thing? Do you want it to suckle on you? Is that it? Is this because Diana's on solids now? Is it? Do we need to have another kid? Is that what it is?
You want me to get you up the fucking spout again? I'll do it right now. Racy never misses. I could fucking glance at you and get you impregnated if that's what you want so badly.
It's not the only rocket round here. She says, yeah, young Jimmy's putting himself about a bit these days, isn't he, Roy? Aye, without the permission of the club.
Oh, yeah, he's fuming about this.
Yeah. I had no idea he'd been signed up to appear on Rock Around. That's a T-shirt. That feels like a T-shirt.
I'm fucking fuming about this.
He says, something tells me that Master Jimmy Slade is getting too big for his boots.
Oh. Yet again, someone whose profile threatens mine that I will have to destroy.
Yeah, and it's a serious close-up of Roy as he's saying it as well, so... Well, it says at the bottom, that's the end of the story, it says some super celebrations in next week's fabulous instalment. Mark's out of 10 for that. I'm giving that 10.
10, yeah.
It satisfied all of my needs.
It had Jeff Boycott and an episode of Rock Around. I mean, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. And next week, there's some interesting adverts in it, but we haven't got time to look at them. It says, Roy's message says, next week's issue, the 15th, is a special celebration edition of Roy of the Rovers. The centre attraction is me. It's my 30th birthday. So it's 30 years, I think, since Roy of the Rovers became a character.
Oh, right.
But they've twisted it a bit, so he's actually
like
30
he's 30
in the story.
Yeah.
And the sign, please, which is on a single page this week, is Rick Stewart from The Goalkeeper strip.
Well, his head's a bit small for his body, isn't it?
Yeah. And he's a fictional character. Some of the fictional autograph, so that's a load of bollocks as well. So there we go. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Lovely. Enjoyable instalment.
Yeah, we'll be back for Racy's 30th birthday next week. Bring it on. Thanks for listening, everybody, and goodbye.
Goodbye.